The Judgment Day story with R-Truth is heating up, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out the latest with MJF, Solo Sikoa, and much more. Starting things off with some interesting notes from AEW's World Champion MJF. MJF hasn't been shy at all about his AEW contract status. He's made it heavily known over the last few years that his AEW deal would be up in 2024. And how he'd be willing to listen to anyone that offered a big deal to him. It's been something that he's been teasing and talking about for several years now, and after all this time, the date is actually quickly approaching. MJF has already noted that January 1st, 2024 will be his last day under contract with AEW. But a lot of people haven't really been giving his contract status any massive attention, because everyone is assuming that he quietly signed an extension sometime over the last few months. But during a recent interview with SI Media, MJF says that he isn't lying when he says that his contract still expires on January 1st, and insists that, despite the rumors out there, he has not signed an extension with AEW of any sort. He also brought up how rumors that always spread about someone secretly signing an extension always turn out to be false. He pointed out how fans assume Cody Rhodes and AEW worked out a deal in mid-2022, and of course Cody ended up returning to WWE, so that was clearly a lie. He also mentioned how there was some rumors spreading around about CM Punk and AEW rekindling, and that turned out to be another lie. So MJF strongly insists that his contract still very much expires with AEW on January 1st, 2024. So whether he's lying or not, either way, we're about to see the clear answer to the situation after January 1st. If MJF suddenly drops the title and vanishes from AEW television, we can assume that maybe the deal wasn't reached. But if he remains champion and appears on AEW television past January 1st, then it'll be officially safe to assume that he has signed an extension with AEW. So they'll only be able to keep his contract mystery running for a few more weeks, because the answer will become much clearer about what is happening there once the calendar rolls into January. Solo Sikoa went viral this week for something that was still on his Twitter profile. Fans were able to dig up an old 2015 video of Solo Sikoa dancing by himself in a room. Once the fans started quoting the post and bringing it to everyone's attention, it looks like Solo Sikoa also picked up on the fans' discovery and proceeded to delete the video on his page. Not only did he delete the video, but he also turned his Twitter page private temporarily to calm down the situation there. The video was nothing bad at all, just him having a fun time and dancing. But obviously that type of video doesn't really fit the characteristics that we're used to seeing Solo Sikoa with on WWE television in current day. So he most likely wanted to get rid of that silly video that the fans found and take things back in a serious direction again. As far as things go with Solo Sikoa, it looks like the story direction of him being next in line for the Tribal Chief is a main storyline after all. Reports claim that WWE has officially filed for the trademark rights to the term tribal heir, which was a term that was introduced on the December 15th edition of SmackDown by Roman Reigns, to explain that Solo Sikoa really was next up in the family. So considering that they filed for the rights for this nickname, it seems like the name will be something that will be sticking with Solo Sikoa, at least for the foreseeable future. It's a big possibility that we'll see him often referred to on WWE television as the tribal heir. Maybe even some merchandise with that nickname on it. Just really seems like they're getting ready to go all the way in on this new nickname. Obviously, it's not just a cool, meaningless nickname. It also clearly represents Solo's direction and his new storyline. Everything he does from this point on will be building him up towards taking over as Tribal Chief, and possibly even as undisputed Universal Champion. A lot of fans have been asking questions about how and when will the new position be turned over to Solo Sikoa. And that really is a good question, because that answer seems a bit uncertain at the moment. Like we saw with Jay and Roman, it may ruin Solo and Roman's relationship with each other. But it seems possible that Solo Sikoa could eventually challenge Roman Reigns for the title and the position of tribal chief straight up. If Solo Sikoa wins, he'll obviously get the title and the keys to the entire kingdom. He was the tribal heir for a long time, and he ended up beating Roman Reigns straight up. That truly establishes Solo Sikoa in every way imaginable. The other direction is obviously if someone else dethrones Roman Reigns. If Roman ends up losing his title to someone like Cody Rhodes, for example, maybe that will be the ideal moment where the family and Solo Sikoa comes right up to Roman and asks him politely to pass the position down to Solo, since he has been defeated and can't stay at the top anymore. So it's definitely a very interesting situation they've started up there. Cody Rhodes is probably number one on everyone's list for superstars to possibly dethrone Roman Reigns right now at this very moment. But if he fails again and can't get the job done, then that number one threat to Roman's title reign post WrestleMania 40 will definitely shift over to being Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa has always been the dark horse pick to dethrone Roman Reigns, pretty much ever since he arrived on the main roster. He's the youngest moment of the bloodline. He's always been presented as the number two option. Even Roman Reigns has shown signs of fearing Solo at times. So all the seeds have been planted there for a long time. So the events of WrestleMania 40 will likely help us figure out what the future holds for both Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. It looks like R-Truth's storyline with the Judgment Day isn't finished at all, and will be continuing into early 2024. Ever since returning, Truth has been obsessed with joining the Judgment Day, and pretty much forcing himself into the group. But everyone thought that the storyline might have been done after the group attacked R-Truth a few weeks back. But that's not how R-Truth took it. He understood the beatdown as his initiation and still thinks he's in the group. Like we saw on Raw, he's even taped his name onto the Judgment Day's merchandise. And after exchanging some words with the Judgment Day on the December 18th edition of Raw, R-Truth was able to talk himself into getting a loser leaves the Judgment Day match against JD McDonough. And to everyone's surprise, R-Truth ended up finding a way to win that match. Now obviously, Damian Priest and the Judgment Day wasn't serious about the match stipulation. They just agreed to it to get things over with and have JD defeat R-Truth to end this entire situation. But considering JD lost the match, R-Truth is now more convinced than ever that he's an official member of the Judgment Day, while JD is not. During a Raw backstage moment, the group did make fun of JD for losing to R-Truth, but they said that JD is not officially out of the Judgment Day. So JD is still in, but R-Truth will continue to come after them and think that he's in the group. And it looks like R-Truth will also have an issue with JD McDonough remaining in the Judgment Day after losing the match as well. This, of course, is just a nice little side story for the Judgment Day, but the fans have been loving it so far, and Truth's engagements with the group so far have been very entertaining every time. So could R-Truth's role in the group actually expand as time goes on? Will they welcome him in to probably use him for something, or will they continue to try and keep their distance and push him away? No matter what direction they go in, it should be extremely entertaining either way. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.